An unfortunate set of circumstances. Ross, a little bit of, I guess, collision, and unfortunately, he got injured, and it's the unfortunate nature of this game. Hopefully he'll be all right, in due time.
Did he break something, Ron?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going to let the doctors and the trainers go through all that they need to go through before, we issue a statement on it.
Is he going back to Charlotte now? Or?
Again, I don't know what the doctors and the trainers are going to do, but we'll let them comment on that.
Ron, the PA regulates some days off and the hitting, but you guys have been unfortunately reminded that there's some of these things you can't prevent.
You really can. I mean, we for the most part, he got his situation came in very normal circumstances. Watching Daryl's and getting a chance to watch it on tape. He misstepped, unfortunately. I know he's being pushed when it happened too, so it's just the unfortunate part. And again, hopefully, those guys will recover and recover well, and eventually when they're ready to play, they can play. But it was tough. It really is, because both those guys have worked very hard for us.
I mean, it was the kind of the scene just like the other day with guys taking a knee and a hush falling over the field. I know that's
it was,
not
and it was near the end of practice as well. That was one of the other hard parts too. It was so close to the end of practice.
Ron, is it nice though to have a day off tomorrow so the guys can maybe reset?
It is. It's very nice to have a day off and for them to get an opportunity to reset. I mean, it was our 5th practice, and it came at it's coming at the right time, which you typically do. And again, they'll go through meetings, go through their install later this afternoon and into early evening, and then they'll be excused, and we'll see them tomorrow night at bed check.
Eric mentioned that he was showing tape of Cockrell almost every day in the team meeting. What was he doing that was?
Oh, Eric. Ross is doing some really good things. I mean, he's a wily veteran, a guy that's really done, some really good things since he's been here, and all the way through OTAs and minicamp and right up here in the training camp. And it's one of those things where you have a guy that's going to contribute, and unfortunately this happens, and it's a tough one because he's such a good person too, and that's what makes it hard when good guys like he and Daryl go down. You wish these things didn't happen.
And it happens everywhere.
Yes.
You just open up Twitter or Google.
Well, it's unfortunate. I mean, and here in the league, we're trying to find ways to make it, better for the players, because their health is really should be the first concern of everything we do.
Are you on any of those committees, Ron, of that player safety or anything like that?
Well, I'm on one of the subcommittees for the rules and stuff like that. We do discuss those things constantly, and just trying to find ways to make things, again, better for our players' health and safety.
On that note, the league has the new lower remove helmet rule this season. Are you guys doing anything different out here to help prepare players for how that rule?
Well, for the most part, we're trying to talk about every time we see something that looks close or suspect. I'll go up to the guy and mention it to him. We had a collision today down in the red zone, and I went over and talked to the player and explained to him. I said, hey, that's going to be very suspect because that falls right into the ram button spear idea of using the helmet. So again, we've got to make sure these young people understand it. And quite honestly, it's going to take more than just us talking to them. It's going to be something that's going to probably be filtered down into Pee Wee football, and they got to learn to tackle properly, and that the head's not a tool to be used. It's about tackling properly and using your shoulders and your chest and your arms.
Ron, James Bradbury is your #1 corner, but obviously you always want guys to improve. So what can he do better?
Well, I think James just continue to learn the techniques and continue to learn the players he's going to play against. I mean, he's got the right type of skill set. He's got good length. He's got good size. He's a physical corner. He runs well. He uses his hands. He's got good eyes. He's just got to continue to grow and develop as a young player. Remember, he's going into his 3rd year, and this is usually when you see guys really start to ascend. And so far, he's practiced very well for us. Again, losing Ross today was a little bit of a blow to that group of guys, but we've got some other guys that have performed well. So again, we'll continue and we'll go forward with these guys.
James seems to have come in really confident. I mean, he's joking around with us and everything. It's just different than the last couple of years.
Yes, and maturity is a good word for it right now. He has matured. I think he's learned to practice. I like the things that we're doing. I think Jeff has done a nice job working specifically with that group of corners. I think Richard has really added to that group, and so I think those two guys have been a good combination for our DBs so far.
Ron, before you talked to Galden, several of his defensive teammates got to him first.
Right, and it's pretty much the same message. And again, we've tried to talk about it, and we'll talk about it more when the referees come in to be here with us on Wednesday. They'll go through the explanation of exactly what the rule means to them and how it's going to affect them, how they'll call it. So it'll be a good opportunity for them to get those questions answered if there's anything that they're not sure about.
Jarius was back on the field after a few minutes.
Yeah.
I assume he got checked out.
Yeah, he did, and I'm not quite sure exactly what it was that they were checking. It could have been something as simple as getting hit in the chin or biting his tongue, or they wanted just to make sure he was fine. But again, I know that he wouldn't have been out there if he didn't check out.
David Tepper was out here. How important is it for the guys to see him out here and kind of see him active?
Well, I think it's good to have him around. It is. It's something that the guys, I think, appreciate knowing that he's around. Again, he's new to this. He's enthusiastic about it, and he's got a message he wants to get across to the players. And so being here, it gives him an opportunity to share that and spread that to the players.
Looks like you two were having a blast on the sideline a couple times, some joking around.
Well, it's funny because we talk about certain things, certain aspects of what's going on with the team, and every now and then there's something will happen that'll kind of lighten the mood. So it's kind of good to be able to share a moment like that with the owner and the general manager.
Talking about Alex Armour and how he's come along in a multitude of ways he helps.
Yes, Alex has done a terrific job. He not just plays fullback for us, but he can play one of our other tight end positions as well. So he's done a good job in terms of his development and growth as a football player. And he's a guy that's going to be, going to have an opportunity to be part of what we're doing.
You see him go along Coach Turner's fullback return.
Yes, he does. Okay. And again, in what Coach Turner wants to do, he'll fit very nicely.
What have you learned about Tucker out here that you maybe didn't know before you got to camp?
He's really like a regular guy. A lot of times when we talk about specific things, you see his business professionalism come out in the way he analyzes and looks at things. So there's a little bit of that going on as well. So you can tell he thinks a lot about things and trying to help find answers to certain situations for us in terms of our football team, getting opportunities to get better. It's been really good.
Dante's already been getting a lot of reps. Would Ross's injury mean more work for guys like Darius and Kevon?
And for Dante, quite honestly, as well. I don't know if you noticed, but we put Dante to the side today with a sore groin, so we just wanted to be careful and don't want to turn into something more. Also knowing that we'll have the day off should help him and get him back on the field come Wednesday morning.
As you head into your first off day, where does this team stand generally in terms of meeting your expectations that you set up?
Well, I've been pleased. I really have. I mean, if there's one thing we talked about from the first practice to now with you guys, it's been about the consistency of things that have gone on. And I've been very happy with that. I mean, again, I think some of the things that we're doing on the offensive side, you see the consistency we're trying to build, especially with the quarterback position. Then you look at the defense and you look at the way they've communicated, the way they've done things. Now, we don't have everybody on the field that we need on the field right now, but again, we still see that. We see the growth in some of the young players. I've talked about this back in OTAs and minicamp. There's a group of guys, second and third year guys especially, that need to step up. For this team to get ready to take another step, we need guys like that to become part of what we're trying to do. And so that's important as well. So, this rookie class has been really good. They've been very competitive. I know they're pushing those second and third year players. So it's the kind of camp you want in terms of competition. And I've been very happy with that.
Heard you requested a song today.
Well, that was to counter the quarterback's request. It's one of those things that, there's certain times in practice when it gets into a little bit of a lull. And, having our music guy up here, and if we can get, a song or two at the right time to just kind of get everybody loosened up again and refocused once we get back out on the field, I'm all for it. And it seems to be working right now, so we'll continue to push that a little bit. But, the big thing more so than anything else is that we're getting work done. And I've been pleased with that.
Your taste in music?
We got to go dance last one.
My taste in music is all over the place, because again, I've got a daughter that is guy's age, and the music she plays is right along this line. So I'm kind of hip about it. So whenever I call out a song and they hear, that I know what the song is, they change their like on another song real quick. It's funny because I'm not supposed to like what they like.